Good afternoon. My name is Lauretta and I've been in 4-H for 6 years. I'm the president of Future Leaders of Color, also known as FLOW, and the vice president of County Council. This presentation is associated with the Communications Club and my experience with 4-H projects as president of Future Leaders of Color and the vice president of County Council. Today we'll be talking about money management. In under 12 minutes, I will talk to you about the purpose and evolution of money, figure out how to earn money as a team, building and following a budget, the connections between emotions and money, and how to consider opening a bank account. Let's start with the purpose and evolution of money. Money is a means of exchange. Without money, we'd have to use bartering. I can't believe that you're using bartering for any of our 4-H projects. But let's say, for example, if we tried for one of our projects, a prom for the senior citizens, we'd have to find people with fruits, vegetables, and decorations, and who want our cookies, because let's say we didn't find a bake sale. If we're unable to find these people, we'd have to feed the seniors with only cookies, give them prizes as only cookies, and decorate the entire room exclusively with cookies. This might make a few seniors happy, but it'll definitely not be good for their heart and cardiovascular system. Bartering requires a coincidence of wants. Therefore, it's very inconvenient. That's why people created different exchange mediums, starting from clay tablets and evolving to shells and the metal coins, now with paper money, plastic cards, and Bitcoins we have today. Knowing your money priorities. It's important to create priorities and establish goals throughout life, especially with money management. For personal finances, break it down into 4 factors: current priorities, intermediate priorities, long-term priorities, and savings in general. It's really self-explanatory. For 4-H Pride projects, all of our priorities would be current since we're unable to roll over any excess money to the next year's project, such as the meal, but we still need to create the priorities within priorities, such as the meals for the senior citizens would be our top priority list, than the decorations for the room. If the budget is tight, the decorations for the room can be handmade without spending any of the budget. How to earn money as a team? Well, there's multiple ways, such as babysitting, dog walking, car washing, working at a local grocery store. Those are just a few. On this slide, here are 2 ways how I earned money for our 4-H projects. The first photo, I'm holding a check, a contribution for the food truck that I contacted and organized. And the second photo, we raised a bake sale to get the funds that we needed. Learning proper time management. It's also in the essence to learn proper time management within life, especially with money management. First, you want to break down the big tasks in smaller ones, focus on one task at a time, create a schedule, and prioritize tasks. Throughout this year, we worked on 4 different projects. Fresh and Shine was collecting hygiene supplies for the middle school children. Deeply Rooted in the Hands of Time, collecting interviews of the older generation of the people in McCulloch County for creating and writing a history book. Young at Heart, Senior Citizens Prom, and a bubble run, which was organizing a health event for the youth within our county. As well as other 4-H activities, I had school, chores, work, and other responsibilities to handle. How I managed to complete it all is I broke down big tasks into smaller ones, created a schedule, and prioritized tasks. The only part I'm still working on is getting enough sleep. Building and following a budget. To build a budget, make sure that your expenses is smaller than the income that you earn. As well as you want to list all your monthly expenses to keep track of it. Oh, income and expenses. To follow a budget, if you stay away from credit cards or pay off all your credit card debts monthly, you have less chance to spend more than the available pool of money that you have. Avoiding unnecessary costs. The most important rule for any for money especially, is doing cost comparison from same manufacturers, different retailers, or different. For one of our projects, we wanted to make buttons. What I learned is the cost of a new button making machine is over $600, while the cost of a gently used one off of eBay is $65. Well, we know which one's the best deal here. As well as doing cost comparison, you want to record all your expenses and adjust spending habits according to your evaluations if you identify any areas that you need improvement. Recognizing the connections between emotions and money. There's 3 things that you never want to do. First of all is impulse buying. Let's say there's 2 ways you can reduce impulse buying, which is 1, make a shopping list, stick to your shopping list, and 2, create a rule where you wait 1 week before making a purchase. The more expensive the purchase, the longer the waiting period should be. Number 2, retail therapy, or spending. Some people spend money in an effort to feel better. Well, then they realize, and then it backfires on them. But instead of spending money, you might as well start earning money. When a teen realizes on how hard it is just to earn a few dollars, they'll start spending for the items that is a necessity instead of unnecessary wants that cost for just a small little craving that they have at that minute. And number 3 is social pressure spending, or making the purchases to impress others. When you want to start saving, consider opening a bank account, but make sure that the bank applies a compound interest and not a simple interest. With a compound interest, the interest on your principal keeps earning the interest too. In other words, let the money work for you. In summary, this presentation taught you how to earn money, establishing your money priorities, learning proper time management, building and following a budget, avoiding any unnecessary costs, separate emotions from money, and how to open a bank account. In conclusion, money management is a large topic that is impossible to cover in under 12 minutes. And 4-H Community Pride projects not only nurtured my leadership and teamwork skills, but also given me the basic understanding of money management, as well as that I will continue to use throughout my life and with other 4-H projects. Thank you for your time. I hope you learned something. Do you have any questions?
Great stuff. I chuckled a little bit, sorry. I had my son in my head as you were talking, like he didn't pay a whole lot more attention when he started paying bills, you know,
Yeah.
I have adult children, so there's a difference whenever it's spending your own money and mom and dad's money.
Yeah.
So I guess my first question for you is, so how do you do all this? How do you, like, when we start, do you keep track of all of your expenses and what do you learn by doing that?
Basically, what you learn by doing that is you start learning on.
What have you learned
What
from
did I-
it? Yeah, about
what did
from
I
when
learn?
you look at your own expenses. We're gonna get personal here.
Okay. What I learned is mainly on how, if you look back into your expenses and then you think, and then in case if you actually go back to what a few years ago and you go back to the same stuff, then you start realizing on how it's more expensive it starts to get, and then and it also brings you up to jobs as well, as saying maybe you want to go into a better paying job as to get into, so as well as starting to understand money is the first goal in order to at least.
And understanding that the coffee or that soda that you get every day adds up
Yeah.
after a while. And that was a big shock a lot of folks always have whenever they first write that down. Like, I spent what on coffee every single day, or
Oh no.
it adds up. Well done.
You mentioned your 4-H club, but all the county council and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you manage the budgeting, or what have you like? You mentioned some of it, but like, what responsibility or role do you have in
So
your work?
vice
in
president.
regards to the money management?
So I was vice president of county council, but we did not have a treasurer at that time. So I ended up filling in, as well as vice president, I ended up filling in role for the treasurer role, especially with our projects and trying to figure out on which one, on how much, what's our budget, how much do we need to spend, how much do you think we have left over?
Did any of this help?
It did. That's how I got the idea of doing money management for this presentation.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.